because they felt better than other people, and now they're doing the same thing when they're on that carnivore diet. They just feel like they're better than other people, but now vegans are the bad people. And it's all the same thing. They're just caring about what other people are thinking. All right, so the idea for this video comes from me seeing on Instagram and on YouTube and on Facebook, anywhere, actually mostly on YouTube and Instagram, where people stop doing the vegan diet and stop being vegan, and then they flip completely and just go carnivore and then bash veganism as if it's like a cult. I've seen people do this with religion too. When I was around 18, 19, 20, I was around a lot of people who naturally started, now that they were on their own, they were away from home, they were away from their families, they were at college, they would question their own religion that they grew up with. And a lot of times these people would just go completely in the opposite direction, not believing in God anymore. Some of them believing in God eventually down the road again, but they would go in the completely opposite direction of their religion because they felt like they were duped growing up. They felt like they were duped into believing in this magic spirit in the sky, and they didn't want, like, they just felt duped. And I think a lot of people who went vegan were like, they just feel like they were pulled into some cult and they were like shamed if they left. They felt that way. Now, I was actually vegan for 7 years. I followed a vegan diet for 7 years, with the exception of, accidentally consuming a piece of bread that had a milk ingredient. Certain things, instances like that, or like the rice had chicken broth and I didn't know about it, but stuff like that. But I was intentionally, I intended to be vegan and eat no animal products for 7 years straight. And I think it was almost 7 years. I was like a month or 2 or 3 away from being 7 years. And I never felt like it was a cult, because I didn't do it because I wanted to be a part of some community, and I didn't do it because I wanted to feel better than other people. I did it because I just thought it was the right thing to do. I just heard a lot of arguments for it, like better for the planet, factory farming is gross and kind of evil, and we have access to a lot of food. We have access to any nutrient that we can get that doesn't have to be an animal product. It is cheaper, as long as you don't buy the processed vegan stuff. It is cheaper to eat rice, beans, potatoes, bread, and pasta. You can learn to make that stuff really good with certain recipes and spices and stuff. And honestly, like, your insides end up being pretty healthy eating that stuff too. A lot of like fruits and vegetables and legumes. So that's kind of why I did it. And I at the end of the day, I just didn't want to eat animals, and I didn't for 7 years, and I never felt like I was in a cult. The first time I ate cage-free, humane certified eggs and wild-caught fish, when I was picking the eggs off the shelf, I felt like somebody was about to come and like bust me and be like, "Troy, I thought you were vegan." But then, that was just a thought that I had. And then I checked out, and then I went home and I made the eggs, drank a little champagne, ate the eggs, and everything's good. And I see a lot of people who are like carnivore, and they're just like, "Yeah, veganism is a cult, man. People make you feel guilty for leaving." And I don't see the issue as the people in the community making you feel guilty for leaving, because in my experience, I've never met somebody who was vegan who shamed other people for not being vegan. I've only met people I've only seen people on social media or in the news who are a little bit wacky and shame other people for not being vegan, and that's like their tactic, and that's how they get famous, because the news likes people who are a little bit crazy because it gets them views. I've never met a vegan who shamed other people for not being vegan. I've only met vegans who just speak their truth. They don't want to eat animals. They think that factory farming is bad, and they would rather just eat plants, and it's pretty easy in this day and age to just eat plants instead of animals. And yeah, there's a lot of good arguments to be vegan. I have to admit that. And when people go the completely opposite direction and they become carnivore, they honestly, on social media, when I look at it, so like I said, I'm not vegan. I'm not, and like I just eat food now, but I am careful about what I eat and where. I try to be careful about where I get my food from, and I don't. If I eat something that's not grass fed or like I don't know. It's not practical for me at this moment to just hyper focus on that stuff. But when I see people who go the completely opposite direction and like don't eat any plants and go like carnivore, they seem to be the annoying ones on social media. And it's funny that they're still complaining about vegans being annoying when I haven't seen a whole lot of annoying vegans since like 2017, when there were a couple, like I said, that were on the news because the news just likes crazy people or like wacky people that say crazy things because it gets them views. They're like, oh, this person's wacky, I'm gonna watch the news now. It gets them views. But yeah, most of the people that I've met that follow that vegan diet don't shame other people when they leave, or they're happy if people are just veering a little bit more towards like a plant-based diet and like eat more plants for the sake of their health and for the sake of staying away from factory farming and eating stuff that's a little bit I guess more compassionate, I guess you could say, towards other living things. I don't know. So yeah, I just wanted to make a video on this and title it, veganism is not a cult. And the idea for this video was sparked by people who are on social media saying like I was shamed, if I ever left, and I was afraid to leave. Oh, the main thing I wanted to say was that's your problem. If you're so wrapped up into what other people think about you, of course it's going to be hard to, like, when I was vegan for 7 years, I didn't make the decision based on other people's opinions of how other people thought I should eat. I was just making that decision myself. So to leave and to not be vegan anymore was an easy decision. It wasn't like people were, like I was afraid of people judging me for leaving the community or whatever. I mean, I talked to everybody. I didn't just have like vegan friends. I don't think I've actually ever known somebody who was completely vegan. I've known people who were vegetarian or people who were trying it. So if somebody's online commenting like on Instagram or making posts on Instagram about how veganism's a cult and now they're carnivore and they have to go completely the opposite direction because vegans suck, I think they just really, really care about what other people think, and they made a decision based off their emotions that they were experiencing, that they thought that they were experiencing when they went vegan, because they felt better than other people. And now they're doing the same thing when they're on that carnivore diet. They just feel like they're better than other people, but now vegans are the bad people. And it's all the same thing. They're just caring about what other people are thinking. They're caring about being part of this crowd and not that crowd, and this crowd, not that crowd. And they're posting on social media so that people will see that they believe this now and they need other people to know it. So that's the underlying issue. Eat the way you want to eat, vegan or not, or whatever you eat. Let me know what you think about these opinions in the comments below. Thank you for watching.